Hello. Hello. Good. Okay. Good morning. So it's good, right? You can see the presentation. Hello. Okay. All right. Today we continue with the chapter number 9 about the BI, the business intelligence. So I can see that most of you guys here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, turn A. So last time we talked a little bit about the business intelligence systems. So this is a very special information system used in the organizations these days, and like we said, it differs from the traditional ones in that it employ the data in order to predict or to make something like new, to have business with the future activity. Okay. So it's not simply like manage the data and doing some symbol manipulation, like put the data in and get the data out, no more like that. But now it will like analyze the data and then figure out what happened in the future. Okay, so in BI, that we know that it have many components in order to support a process. We call the BI process. Okay, so in the BI process, we can see that there are 3 primary activities. Okay, here the first one is to acquire the data. Okay, so here is the data acquisition. So in this activity, the first one, we will like collect the data. Okay, we obtain the data. We only select the data that are really needed for the next step. Okay, the next activities. And as long as we collect the data, we may have some problem with the data, like missing data or noise data, that data with noise. Okay, like as we collect something, but then we have something that we not expect. Okay, so like, or it's incorrect, or whatever happened with the data we get during the time we collect the data. So it needs some data pre-processing. So here simply like we cleanse the dirty ones, or sometimes we may like remove the missing data part, or we try to estimate some data that's missed. Okay, so all the thing we do in the second part here is the cleansing data, and then we organize the data the way we want, because the next step will be like analyzing data. So now we organize them, put them in the right format, in the right structure. Okay, and finally we like make some definition about the data we have, right? Like which one is the input, which one is the output, what output will be determined based on input, on everything like this. Even we have to do some annotation. So this step we do like catalog the data. So after we're done with the first activity, we go to the next one in the BI process. So the next activity will be about data analysis. Okay, so we do everything like making a report. This is a very simple one, right? Because when we have the data in the database and we make the report, that's very simple. Simply like read the data and then arrange them in the right format. Okay, like finance balance sheet or whatever. So that's very simple one. The next one in the data analysis is like somehow higher level data mining. Okay, so in data mining, like we try to figure out the pattern in the data. Okay, like when we look at the whole data set we have, we search and find out some patterns. Okay, so that's data mining. And we may also do with more complicated, more varied, or large data sets. So let me do big data. Okay, so remember the big data here is the data very large in size, very complicated, and then change so fast. Okay, like by every 15 minutes, like stock market. Okay, or like every 6 hours, like healthcare system. So the data change did not stay still. Okay, so that's kind of big data. Okay, so we may do some like big data analysis or big data approach in this step. We will not talk a lot about the big data because it's a very large research area, so we just simply understand a little bit about this. And hopefully we will talk more about big data later in another like after lecture we do. And finally we may do like knowledge management. Okay, so here we can do like some knowledge discovery first, and then handling the knowledge, okay, manage it, use it to support the business activity. So you can see that in the second activity we do a lot of things and making new and valuable information for the business. Okay, and then finally the third activity simply like showing the results. So here we simply like publish the results from the BI process. Okay, so where we publish, we print, right? Print out to the paper. We send to the manager, the worker, the manager or the knowledge worker. Okay, like this. We post to them, or we respond to their request. Okay, on the knowledge worker in the company. And we may also report the result on the website. We report the result on the server in order to share other requests across the internet, or even do some automation. Okay, automation is this day, like I will talk about the business optimization later, and then insert a process we need the automation. Okay, automation simply like help with the business process optimization and business agilities. We will talk about it later. So you can say that after we do the second activity, the next activity in the BI process should be the publish the results. Okay, so publishing the results. So that's very simple for BI. And then we will talk more about them later, but here we can see some example of using the BI to do very simple thing. Like last time we talked about that using the SQL, right? SQL in order to do some pivot table from the data in order to extract some new information or some new and valuable information per business need. Okay. So here's some example pivot. I'm sure you guys have been using Excel a lot, right? And pivot table somehow very familiar for people using Excel to do data analysis. So here is some example. This is done using Microsoft Access, but in Excel it can be done easier, right? So yeah, here is example to that. So you can turn out to see the orders from the customer in many different ways. Okay, so many different ways, including the weight of the average prices, average weight, average amount items, or a lot. So with the pivot table we can do a lot. We can turn the data into different dimensions. Right? Okay, so this is a simple thing. Okay. So that's an example of the BI, simple BI in data analysis with a pivot table. Besides that, we can see that the BI can be used in many other information systems. So here is an example of the MS in diagnosis. Okay, so this is somehow like an academic example, because in reality we're not using this. Okay, so here the author just simply suggest a simple information system using BI in order to support the diagnosis, to help the doctor with like issue the therapies for some patients. Right? They said that for a long time the doctors treat many patients and store the information about them, even including their therapy, okay, the way they treat the patient in the database. And then after that they can employ some AI tools in order to analyze, so next time they can have like better therapy for a given patient with a given disease, for example. Yeah, this idea is a very interesting example, but it's not reality, right? Because doctors are not allowed to to invent new methods to treat the patient. No, they just treat the patient the way they learn from the university. Okay, they will not allow to do that unless they propose a new method for treating some disease, and it should be approved by the FDA. Okay, so in the US we have the FDA agents, so that can monitor every like doctor activity. Even they want to use new drugs or medicine, they should be approved. They cannot just do the new one by their own, because doctor is not a researcher. Okay, in the US, doctor is not a researcher; they're just a doctor. So here example, so we can see it for fun. Okay, but not business. Even in the business, right? Even in your company, whenever you try to analyze the data, you find out some new or very valuable information, and that help you to make a new plan for your department. For example, you are the manager of your department. You want to make a new plan, a new activities, or a new strategy for the department, but you should, right, prepare a plan, a report to the CEO in order to be approved. Okay, you cannot do that on your own, right? So that in the company, so the doctor as well, they're not allowed to do everything they want, right? So so some example about the BI and how it can be used in modern information system in the business these days. So because we with the BI we have a need of using a lot of the data, right? So we need to use some tool to manage a large amount of data. Remember, the data here, not only the data from the business. So that means not only the internal data, but also the external database. Okay, so the external data come from where? We get from data broker, we get from some like other open source. For example, from social media network, we have a lot of data like that. So how can we manage all the data all together? The tool we use here is the data warehouse. Okay, so data warehouse simply like a tool that helps us to manage a large amount of data. Okay, like the tool can come from Microsoft or from Oracle or some open source. We do have a lot of tools to do data warehouse these days. Okay, and with the use of the data warehouse here, you see that it can manage a lot of cap data, right, all around here. Okay, all around here. Let's help. Yeah, okay, the centralized data management system. And then based on that, we can use the BI, right? BI in order to analyze the data from data warehouse. And then finally, we have the new and valuable information. Okay, so that's very simple. So here is an example of the data, the external data we can get when we do BI process. So because traditional business only have the data about their business activity, right? So if they want to learn more about their customer, they need to do some survey, okay, or they need to hire some third-party company to collect the information, okay, to do the market research, and then finally they have the data. The company have the data from them. So here is an example of the external data the business may have. Okay, so here's an example, and so that means the customer is still outside of the boundary of the business, right? But like last time I said, is the business should like include also the customer. So if you want to do this better, you need to like include the customer into your DNA. If you can do that using social network, like last time we learned, and then you can have the data about your customer without need to purchase any data from outside, right? But here, assuming that we get some data from outside about the customer, about the market, and then we can do some analysis, okay? So what we can do first before doing BI data analysis, we need to do some like data pre-processing, right? So what the data pre-processing to deal with. It deal with the dirty data, so data with noise. Okay, so it should process the data with noise first, and then it should deal with missing data. Okay, because some data, like when we do survey and then the customer like didn't answer the question, so we miss some item, some data item, so missing data value may happen. Okay, or sometimes like inconsistent data, right? Because some mistake or whatever, we got the data is not really good, and then the data is not integrated, so it's because of the inconsistent or redundant, right? Redundancies. So we have the problem with data entirely. So we may also have other problem with the data as well, because of the problem when we design the survey. So maybe we design the survey, we collect too much data, or we collect too much data attribute, or we like get too many data observation, right? Many data point, data observation. Okay, so like we send out, but we get too much more data than expected. Okay, for example, all of these should be resolved before doing data analysis. So how can they to be resolved? We use data pre-processing. Okay, so we solve our problem with the data we saw in the previous slides. And after we're done with that, and then we can do the data analysis. Okay, do data analysis, and then we can like deliver the results to the knowledge user or to the manager. Okay. So here we know that the data warehouse can help to manage the entire the whole database in the company, in the organization. So that means it's have data for all the departments, right? For all the division in the companies. So it's very large. But sometimes we need to like making the BI in a department specific. Okay. So for example, we want to do some BI in the sales and marketing department, or we may do the BI with the inventory department. So instead, okay, we need to split the data warehouse because it's too big, right? Too large. So now we need to split the data warehouse into smaller one for every department, for example. So a version, a copy of the data warehouse like that is a data mart. Okay, so data mart simply is a version of the data warehouse, but smaller in size and more specific. Okay, so it can be used in a given department or given division, okay, in the company or in the organization. Okay, we sometimes we need to split it, or after we do BI analysis, we have the model. The model somehow need the data together, so we need to split the model out with the data, and then they are together to be delivered to the target, like to a given department or a sub branch, okay, or a part of the company. So in certain case, we need to split the data warehouse to get the smaller one. So that's a smart data mart, right? So for publishing the results, we can, like we see, we have many ways to publish it. But how can we do it? We deal with the publishing results. Here we have some basic operation that the BI the BI can have, or even the data warehouse can help to support. So it's very simple, right? Sorting, filtering, grouping, calculating, and formatting. So all of these tools very popular in database management system too. So if you use Excel, you see that when we have the data from many sheets, okay, we can combine them and then we can report them using the format given in Excel, in ACED as well. So we can do it in Excel, ACED also in other data warehouse tool. So it's simple, so I do not need to remind about that. So here is an example of how to shorten the customer. Okay, so they can define some indices. Okay, so indices based on the how recently a customer place order, or how frequently they place order, or how much money they spend when they order. Right? So all of these will show the customer in the way we want. So if we want to take care, or we want to make some reward, okay, or promotions, we can use these indices in order to order a list of customers who do transaction recently, and then we can show them, right, like this way, and we can analyze the customer by change, like so. In the top 20, we do some analysis in order to understand what we can serve them. The second one, how can we do with them, right? So here we order the data in order to make different plans for different segment of a customer. Okay, for some customer we have this plan for them. For the other group of customers we do another plan. So remember, when we do customer switch, we will never have only one like strategy, right? We have many different ways to do. Okay, and a tool in data warehouse to help us with doing something like sorting, grouping, or analyzing, turning in different dimensions like that, we call the OLAP, okay, OLAP, OLAP, online analytical process. Okay, simply like a process of analyzing the data directly on the data warehouse. Okay, online like that. So this tool is also a set up a SQL statement. So if you know how to use SQL, and then you can do OLAP easily. Okay, OLAP is just a kind of a very special SQL statement. Okay, and then SQL, we know about that, right? Because you guys do not need to know how to write down a SQL statement. Because that's not your job, but you know that we can use SQL, SQL to make the OLAP report. Okay, and then here is an example. Okay, drill down, pure up, whatever, can do many different ways. All right, so that's is some simple example about the data analysis in BI system. Okay, so now we talk about the activity operation in the data analysis activity of the data warehouse, which is data mining. Okay, so you know about data analysis, but data mining is somehow like more than just the data analysis, right? Because now with the data mining we can like get something unknown previously with data mining. Okay, so we may use data mining for something that we know in advance, simply like checking a hypothesis. Okay, but somehow we use data mining in order to find out something new. Okay, so it's new to us, and then that's kind of data mining. Okay, so in order to use it, you can see that it requires a lot of disciplines. Remember, data mining is not just from computer science, never, right? It should come from industries as well. So it should come from the marketing, it should come from finance, it should come from other economic sellers. Okay, so that means data mining is a a combination of many different disciplines, including computer science, statistics, and mathematics, and also from management science as well, right? So that makes the data mining very powerful and useful. Okay. So in data mining, we can do data analysis using different approaches. Okay, not only one method, but many different methods in order to address different problems. Okay, and so we will talk about this after we do some quiz. Okay, so now we will stop here, try some quiz in order to review what we learned so far. So remember, in this chapter we learned about the BI, right? BI, business intelligence, and the system, how it, what it is, how it works. We know that, right? So it is a new or very modern information system that can do data analysis in order to produce something like some new information and valuable information to help the business to do something more effective in the future, right? And then it has some basic primary activity like get the data, right? Collect the data, and then doing the data analysis, and then making the report or report result. So that's the first thing we learn. Some very first thing we learn about. We learn about the BI, and okay. So now we will try to do some quiz, okay, about the first session of the chapter number 9. It's very simple, right? You know what is the modern information systems can help business with something in the future. And now the second one. So we have only 2 questions for the first session of this chapter. Alright, so now next we talk about the data mining. So data mining can help us to analyze the data in order to get some pattern, okay, some insights from the data, and then search new things will help the business with the like future plan, right, or future strategy plan, or even if at the tactical or operational level. Right? So the business manager can use the result from the data mining to make more effective plans. Okay. So there are many different kind of data mining. The first one is the unsupervised data mining. So the name unsupervised comes from the method that the data mining uses for machine learning. Okay, so in machine learning we have the unsupervised learning methods. Okay, so using such method you can do the data mining. We call it unsupervised data mining. Okay, and with the unsupervised approach, we do have no hypothesis. Okay, we do have no assumption about the thing we are about to look at or to discover. We just simply like doing the thing as is. Okay, that unsupervised learning. A very popular method here is cluster analysis. So cluster analysis simply like take out a group of things, but without knowing in advance, in prior, how many groups or which one will belong to which group. Okay, no. So that's an example of the cluster analysis. The second one, the second data mining approach is the supervised data mining. Okay, so supervised data mining comes from the way we use the supervised machine learning methods. Okay, so why is have the name like that? Because with the supervised machine learning method, we use some hypothesis, okay, or some assumption, and then we try to like validate the assumption or the hypothesis against the data, so that we know something, right? We want to check, and now with the data we check whether it's correct or not. Okay, so remember, data mining simply like data mining, but when we say supervised data mining, because we do data mining using supervised learning methods from machine learning. Okay, and besides that, data mining may also use statistics, right? Statistics or mathematics. So that's something, some other tool beside machine learning. Okay. So here we have a very well-known example of data mining for business, which is market basket analysis. Okay, or sometimes it have the name like shopping cart analysis. So this is to analyze the cart the customer have whenever they do shopping at the store. Okay, so every day we have many customers visit the store shopping for items, right? And then when they do check out, we have the shopping information, their shopping information stored in the database. So after some months or years, we have a very large amount of data in the database regarding the customer shopping. So now we analyze the data in order to figure out what they do, what is the pattern, the hidden patterns, or what is somehow new to us. Okay, so the analysis of the shopping cart may help us, like when people buy some item, which item they may also buy, right? So that's a very simple example. So for example, when people buy a pizza, right, they may buy some milk or they may get some bread. So how can we know that? Because we analyze the shopping cart, right? We analyze every cart like this. So for the first customer, I see that he gets some pizza, and then he gets some milk. The second one do the same thing. The third one not doing that, but the fourth one do the same thing again. So that means we can figure out that whenever people get pizza, they may get milk, okay, with like 75% accuracy. So that's trustable, for example. So how should we need to know about that? Because it helps us, right? First of all, help us with like arrange the item in the store. We put the milk and pizza close to each order. First thing we can use, okay? Second one is we make the plan for the future, right? So when we do inventory, if we plan to restock pizza, we may also restock the milk. Okay? That's the reason. So besides that, we may benefit a lot from the shopping cart analysis. Okay, so here is an example. They do have many transactions, right? So they have like 400 shopping cart, and then they see the item in the cart, and then they simply analyze them to figure out the rule. Okay, that's an example. 1 minute, please. And we also benefit a lot of things besides that. Okay, a lot, not just that. And we have many methods from machine learning, from AI, to help with data mining, and then some of which, like decision trees, is very useful. Okay, because decision trees somehow very familiar to us, to people, right, to human beings, because of the structure, the way they work. Okay, and this also a very useful tool for machine learning. Okay, so how can we build a decision tree from data? We also use unsupervised data mining first in order to figure out the pattern. Okay, after we have the patterns, we connect them together to make the trees. Okay, like this and that will go to what, okay, and then again this and that will lead to what. All of this build up the trees. You can see an example of the trees here. Okay, so in this tree we simply based on the some information about the customer. Okay, so in order to compute the credit score for a customer, okay, we can use a decision tree. So we base on many different factors, right? If the customer good at this, bad at that, or excellent at those, and then how can we make the decision? So that's look like a decision tree like this. Okay, from the root we can go to many different branches to go to be more specific. Okay, and with the machine learning we can build a tree very easily. Okay, so you know that in machine learning, whenever I have large amount of data, put in and ask it to build a decision tree, we have the structure like this. Okay, and the decision tree is very familiar to us. So if you are a business manager, right, you look at the decision tree and you know what to do. Right? Very easy. You can follow this way, checking something go this way, and checking something go this way, because we have a label, right? Every branch here we have a label, so we go to follow the label in order to go to final leaf, okay, to the leaf of the tree. So when we go to the leaf of a leaf of the tree, that means we come up with a decision, okay, what to do. That's it. So it's very popular, very useful, okay, a lot. So in many other systems, like in the expert system as well for business, we also use decision trees. Okay. We can see another example of using BI for trading. Okay, you know that many stock company need to do the like security trading. So how can they make it? Okay, so here example of using the BI to support the security trading, and an example at the Two Sigma, right? They use it. And then they also apply some data, some BI, and in order to make the decision for trading. Okay. So like I said, AI is very helpful, but application of AI in the business is still not really popular. Not really. Okay. And somehow they can help, but somehow they don't. So here you can see some example, but be careful with using the AI, because in the US last years we have a company, a real estate company. They apply AI and they fail at the market. Okay, so using AI is somehow like a trend these days, but be careful with using it. It cannot like help you everything like some people talk about them. AI not that smart. Okay, the AI cannot compare with human beings these days, or at least 10 more years. So we can use them to support, but you cannot use them like doing everything by their own. No way. Okay, so here's some examples, so we can simply skip it because. So in data mining, we also know that we may use big data, okay, big data, or use the big data method. So first of all, you should know about the big data. So what are big data? The data are very large, okay, so it's very large in like the size. It's change very fast, okay, and it's very varied, okay. It's have many different format, making the big data, okay. Don't miss like confuse with the large data. So the data large simply data. Okay, big data somehow different. They're not just big in size, but also complicated and very varied. Okay, so for example, we have the data from the social network. From the social network, we don't have structured data, right? We have some data like the text, the image, okay, graphics here, the audio, the video, all sorts of things. So that's why the data are big data. Okay. So using the big data, we can make some new, okay, and valuable information too. Okay. So for example, now using a Google tool like MapReduce, we can map the data from many different sources. So we can combine them together, okay, and reduce. That means we can produce some valuable and useful information. Okay, so MapReduce is a tool from Google in order to help us to deal with the big data, in order to produce something new and valuable, like we do with the BI. Okay, so MapReduce is also a very useful tool for BI because these days BI also use big data, right? So the MapReduce, and beside the MapReduce, we can have many other tools, but MapReduce, Hadoop here, is very popular for us. Okay, and remember, like SQL, MapReduce also require a language to do the thing. So if you want to do something with MapReduce, you need to learn a language. Okay, the language here is the pig language. Okay, in order to map and reduce results. Okay, and yeah, you do not need to know how to write the language like I said, but you know that. You just simply know that. Okay, in the future, if the company needs to deal with the big data, the company needs to integrate some tool like MapReduce, okay, in order to link the data from many different sources and reduce the data into the specific and very useful information. Okay, so that's the big data. We come to the last one in data analysis of the BI process, which is knowledge management system. Okay, you know that because when we use the BI, we may have some like knowledge user in the system, right? Because now it's not simply the user input and enter and get report for the system, but also the user that like have knowledge, right? Expertise. People, they have some like experience, some knowledge about the work they do. Okay, and then we want to get them together to solve the problem of the system of the BI. Okay, so in order to get them come together, we need to acquire their expertise and then use the expertise in the system. So a tool to help the BI with that named the knowledge management. Okay, so knowledge management may be a module, okay, module, or maybe a system in BI. Okay, and the knowledge may come from the human beings, like I said. Okay, so if we have many experts or expertise people in the company, we can like get their knowledge to help with the systems. But somehow we can use data mining to analyze the data to get new knowledge. Okay, so remember, machine learning can help us with making new knowledge. Okay, and that can enrich the knowledge base for the company. Okay, so here is once we manage the knowledge, we benefit a lot. Absolutely, right? Because now it looks like we have new experts, okay, new like cool people that can help to solve the problem, okay. So should people like the people from the company with expertise, right? Expertise or the knowledge we get from analyzing the data, analyze the historical data, we can have new or valuable information, right, or knowledge. So that's come together can help to bring many benefits for the companies, right? So a system like that, like I said, look like expert, right? Expert. So it given the name expert system. Okay. So now we have a system, not simply like manage the data like traditional one, right? Like traditional information system. But now we have the system that manage the knowledge. Okay. So that's such a system look like an expert. And that's why we name the system expert systems. Okay? Expert system can help solve the problem. So how can it manage the knowledge? The expert system will turn the knowledge into rule-based knowledge base. Okay, so the knowledge base like database, but it's for knowledge. Okay, will be described in a way like if then. So if then rule. So if the temperature high, and then we need to turn on the AC, for example, okay, or if the market need to go down, and then we can may do some promotion or reduce or a lower price, for example. So if then is a structure that can help to describe a small knowledge, okay, a bit of knowledge. So if we have a large amount of knowledge, we need to have many if-then rules like this, okay? And then we can employ the if-then rule in the system to solve the problem. That's it. So here is an example of if-then rule. If blah blah blah, then whatever we do. If patient greater than 55, then add to whatever here. Or if some blood pressure look like this, and how can we do? Okay. Or another rule. So if-then rule is very useful and popular in the business. Okay, but using the expert system, we may also have some problem, some drawbacks. Okay, first of all is the number of the rule. Here they didn't say, but you know what? When we have a large number of rules, right? Of rules, it's very hard to scale among them to choose the best one. Okay, so in case we have some like rule that conflict, okay, let's say differently, so it's hard to scale them, to merge them together to make the final decision. So the first thing like this, and then the rule here come from many different experts, right? Come from many different expertise, so it's hard to determine which one is the best, right? Which one is the best, because if they somehow telling something differently, we need to choose the best one. Okay, and more experts come, right, to help, and then more and more knowledge we have, so it's hard to maintain the knowledge base, right? Because now we have knowledge base, and then the more knowledge come, and then the base grow up, right? Go large, and then hard to maintain them. And then sometimes we need to hire some very good experts come to like cleaning the system like we clean the database. Okay, so using expert system sometimes have problem, and then we need to handle the expert system knowledge base all the time, okay, to make sure it works properly. And that's the problem. So besides the expert system in the company, we may also use other forms of knowledge, simply like the content management system. So it simply handle the content, because in the Commonly, sometimes we have some like guidelines, right? Some help, some support. It's not really the knowledge like the if then, but also it's some kind of content like an article, right? A manual on using the products. So such a thing we call the content, and then the business also need a system to manage the content like that. So we need the content management system. Okay, and then we also need a system like that to handle the content in order to deliver the content to the customer. Okay, so when they want to get a product from the company, they need to come to the content management system to check the product, right? Because there we will have articles talking about the product, okay, or suggesting something if they want to get the product and help them how to use the product effectively, right? So all of these are the content. We also need the system like that. So beside the expertise or expert system, we also have the content or the content management system. Okay, and these tools available out there, so we can use them easily, or you can like develop a new system for the company. Okay, and beside that, we can also have the content not only from the company but also the content from the outside media systems, right? So like we know that from using the social media, we can have many other content. And remember, from social media, we may also have the knowledge as well. So you can see that to have the BI now, we can have many different subsystems like expert systems, like content management systems, as well as social media systems. Okay, and some media like wiki, right, is very popular for us because every day we have something. If we read something and we don't understand or we don't remember, we can go to wiki, right? Wiki check it. So wiki is a very popular thing to come, place to come. Okay. So using the content and the knowledge in BI is very helpful, right? It's help with solving the problem, but how to make it possible? Because in a company we know that we have expertise people, right? We know we have it, but how can we get them to work together to contribute to the system? It's very hard. So because human beings always have resistance, right? They scare of something new because the news, okay? Or sometimes they don't want to show something because that can hurt them some way, somehow, okay? So it looks like last time we said about the new innovation in the company, and here about the knowledge in the BI system, we also deal with the same problem. But we have to deal with that, and for every company, they should choose a best solution for that. Okay, like last time we did already. All right. So for the publishing, yeah, it's simple because the publishing, like we say, we can bring to the paper, we submit to the server, we show on the web server, or we make it use on the tool, right, like email or any other collaboration tool. So we can publish the result to a group of people, collaborate together, or a forum. So that's just an output symbol. Okay. So beside of the BI, we may also use a tool, a very useful tool, in order to help with the deliver the BI process results. So the one we use here is a BI server, okay, that can help with manage and delivery, right? So when we have the results, like we want to deliver this to the user, we may deliver directly to the user, right, BI user, but somehow we can do it to the BI server. So at the BI server, we can manage the results and also deliver the result to the right people. So the people do not need to like directly working with the BI application or system here on the left hand side, but you can talk with the BI server. So this is a medium for BI and user, end user. Okay, so here is the end user of BI. They can use any tool in order to talk with the server in order to get the result that were done by the BI application or process here. Okay, so this can help to manage the result delivery. So that's on about the BI. So again, you know that BI just simply like a modern information system where we can do more with the data, not only manage or manipulation, but also analysis. Why should we analyze the data? Because that can help us to find out something new, right? Some hidden pattern, some insights to understand more about customer, about the market. So once we understand more about the customer and about the market, we can do we can help or to run the business more effective, right? Because we can build more appropriate strategy plan, right? Or maybe running some like effective tactical plan or making some useful and helpful operational decision every day. So that help the business do or serve the customer better. So that's the reason we should use BI this day. And once using BI, we can see that we have many new tools from AI that can help, and then you know that AI turn out to be more and more helpful these days. So using AI, we may like benefit a lot, but also many people worry about one day AI can replace them. Okay, can replace the human beings, or sometimes they can control the human being as well. But hopefully that will not come soon. Okay, so these days people usually talk about singularity. So singularity simply like some point, somewhere, somehow AI will dominate the world, right? But if you know clearly about AI, you know that is long time, okay? Because at the moment, like I said, AI is not smart enough to do everything. They're just smart enough to help people, to help human beings. They're not smart enough to do things on their own. So don't worry about that. Maybe in the next 5 years. And absolutely we don't know what happened in 2027, because after the next 5 years, maybe we have some like on-quarter technology that can change the thing. Okay, so yeah, that's about this future. And so far we have been talking about the BI and how it can help with the business, how can we use it in the business in order to understand more about the market, about the industry, and about the customers. Okay, so all the questions here we already answered. And a new term we learned today is about big data. Okay, so it's simply a new kind of data that's a very large insight, complicated and rich format. Okay, so it's very new kind of data. So in order to deal with such data, we should use some tool like MapReduce from Hadoop, where we can like simplify the data, getting the useful one or more specific one. Okay, and also big data is integrated in the BI, because BI use not only data analysis, data mining, but also big data together with the knowledge management. Okay, so you see big BI now have a lot of things in there. Okay, so that is the end of the Hadoop, of the BI, and some introduction about Hadoop. But I'm not asking you guys to learn more about that, because it's from computer science. Okay, so We just know that Hadoop can help with manage big data. That's it. Okay. Alright. So for the this end, I also make some review, simple review. And remember in BI we use some tool for machine learning. Remember that, okay? For machine learning we have some method to make the machine learn, okay? So the first one is learning without a supervisor. We call that the unsupervised learning. Okay, so we let the computer learn everything it can. Okay, it can just simply learn. We don't ask them because we don't know anything about the thing the computer will learn. So that's unsupervised. The second one is we know something in advance. For example, we know something like the market, the price of the given item, and then we know that it can be impact, okay, can be affect or impact by the price of similar items. So we can build some hypothesis, right? We can build some hypotheses, and then we can have some simple model for doing that. And now we ask the machine learning to check the hypothesis with the model using the given data. So in such a case, we are asking the machine learning to do supervised learning. Okay, so supervised learning, that means learning under the guide or under supervisor. Okay, second one. So we have two popular approach for machine learning like that, which can be used in data mining. Okay, besides we have some other machine learning methods like reinforcement learning. So now we learn, but we also reward the thing. So making the computer learn the right thing, because sometimes the computer do somehow very crazy, right? It keep learning some one side but not the other side. But now I want to ask the computer to learn not only the thing but also the useful information as well. Okay, so besides the thing it learned, it can take some more useful information. So we build a reward system. So that's the reinforcement learning. So we have a lot of things. We will talk about that in we will extract information from another book after this presentation, after this slides. Okay, so now hope you guys are ready for that. We will have a quiz. Okay, second question. Okay, some I do see some of you have a problem with the quiz, the first session, right? So now I will resend the first session question. So the first session is much easier. We try to do it. The second one somehow very hard, right? So try doing the first question, the first session question. So it lasted, right? It's not problem, but they there. And now I will try to resend the question for chapter number 8. Right? So you have một polyreal to have it done better. Right, so now we go to chapter number 10, because after this chapter I will have some review about the AI and application in business. Okay, so based on that you can see how we can use certain new technology and how it can help and how can we figure out what to do more to the current state of the art business models. So in chapter 10, we will talk about the information system security. Okay. So now we care about the security of the system. We have been so far learning a lot about the information system, some very specific and modern ones, and we know how they help with doing the business activity. So now the problem is, once we use the information system, we may like to deal with many threats, right? Many challenges. So how can we address them? Well, how can we mitigate the risk of losing some kind of valuable information? Or how can we protect or secure the customer with their transactions? Okay, so this chapter simply mentioned about that. We're not going to like making some software, implement some systems, but we know what we should deal with. So in the future, as a business manager, you know the problem in what to deal with that, and you have the IT team to do that for you. Okay. So for information security, we know that a lot, right? But here in this chapter, we will discuss about them more specifically, like what can hurt the information system. How can we deal with that? And is there any way to avoid add-on, or just like try to mitigate them to reduce the loss or the hurt, right? The risk we may have. And finally, what may happen in the future. Okay. So here is a very simple example of the security threats to your information systems. Okay. Some bad guy can try to hack into the system, even though the system behind a server or firewalls, in order to steal something. Okay. So what they steal? They steal the information simply. Right? Or maybe sometimes they steal the information about the credit card, and then based on that they can steal the money from the card, from the account. So mostly they do by break into this the system. If the system have no no fence, and then they can go directly, right? Or if they have some fence put in like safeguards like this, they try to break through the fence, okay, and get into the system. So all the time, whenever you have your system running and then connect to the internet, or in the future you have your system in the cloud, bad guys on there, always out there, try to break, okay, to steal something they need, okay. So once they break, they can like make some hurt, right? Make harm to your company. So for example, if a hacker, a bad guy, try to steal your bank login credentials, so they can hurt, right? Because there's a bad, since they try to like pretend some way that can make you believe that is from some like trusted source, and then you can follow it, doing what they ask you to do, and then finally you lost, right? You lose the thing. So that can come to many different situations. We will talk more about it later. Okay. So that's the first case. You have some bad guy try to attack, making vulnerability, and then break into the system, and resulting in losing something. The first one. The second one may be not a threat, but because it just comes from yourself. you do some wrong thing, like sharing your account, your credit card number and some other information in an email sent to your parents, sent to your close friends, and you didn't know that some guy can interfere, right? They can get into the land and reading your email and getting the information of your credit card and then use it to buy something online, right? So that may be another threat you may have. So that's for a person. For a system, we might also have the similar things. So some bad guy try to hack into the system, or just because people in the system doing some mistakes, right? Making a leak of some very important information. Okay? So that hurt. Okay. So the loss we may have a lot, right? We can uncountable, okay? Because sometimes we don't know, or sometimes because it's happened a lot, and then we could not measure how much we lost because of the threat. So here's some example, okay? So for example, from human being error, like making some mistake, like doing some wrong step, following some wrong procedure, we may leak the information, or we may have some data disclosure, okay? Or maybe because of the bad guy trying to cheat, right? Trying to hack into the system, getting the information. Or maybe because of some other, like natural disaster, also hurt, and we may lose like this, okay? A lot way we lost. Anyway, we don't expect that, and we need to secure, right? We need to mitigate. We don't want to get lost. Why we do business. So here is some way we can lose things, right? We a lot of things. So we talk about the threat can come because we do some mistake. So for example, sometimes we bought something, or we send something via email. We don't know that. Or sometimes we do some modification on the data we store in the system. Unobserved thing, unobserved activities can make loss the data or hurt the system. Okay. Or and so simply like sometimes the loss may come from because of the system problem. Okay. For example, sometimes system work properly, and then because of the disconnect, internet disconnection, and the system needs to recover. So once it's recovered, it needs to ask in something, and the last connection may be not the right one, but the system didn't know. As long as it recover and they get in the connection into the system, so that's bad because some bad guy wait in there, then suddenly get into the system as well, right? So that's the wrong we may have. Or sometimes the system have no problem at all, but because of the development problem, or we call the programming problem, okay? So the error can come from by the time we develop a system, we didn't know that in advance, or maybe because we just simply have it because we sometimes we careless, right? And then we make the error, and that can have the hacker get into the system too. Or sometimes we install the software, but we didn't install it properly. We didn't follow the exact steps, so we can miss some step, or we miss some modules, okay, some part of the software, and then we make an opportunity for the bad guy to hack into the system. So remember, many mistakes may come from the people inside the system, not just because of the bad guy outside, but because the system with the people have some mistake that can like open the door for the bad guy coming. Okay, and besides that, we can have like once we have the problem like that, you can know that we lost a lot, right? We may lose information. We can like lose the customer information or the some important information, right? When we do the contract, we do with other dealer, and then now the information loose. You can know that you see that many companies in the U.S. Losing the contractors because of the bad guy from other country try to steal it, right? So that's bad. So here you can see every year we count a lot of attacks from China and Russia to the U.S. because they want to steal the information from the business, and also trying to steal the information from the patents. Okay, so the news innovation done in the U.S. was stolen and then transferred to the other countries. Okay, so that's bad. So information system security is very important, not only because keeping the information, but also secure some plan in the future the company plan to do, right? Or some pattern, because pattern, once you lose the pattern, you may lose a lot. Okay, the technology and the ownership, or a lot of things regarding the technology the company using. So that's very important. All right. So that means the security of the information systems very important. Okay, so we see, because it's to deal with keeping everything secure. Okay, as much as possible. Okay. So what is the goal of the information system security? This goal simply like to secure a thing, to mitigate the loss. Okay, that's it. So the goal of this information system security is to keep things secure, okay, and to mitigate the loss. So in case we have to, we somehow lose something, right? But we need to lose as little as possible, okay? So between that, we need to scale. Sometimes we need to pay for making the thing secure, don't want to be losing, and then we need to pay back a lot. So we need to like doing some plan that can have a very appropriate trade-off. Okay, so if you lose this, you get that. So you want to like balance them, make a very good trade-off. Okay, among them, to have a acceptable solution for this. So that's the goal of the information system security. So saying like that, that means no way for us to eliminate the problem, right? No way, because the information system is a set up thing, right? We know that it's 5 components with the software, hardware, data, procedures, and people. You cannot make sure everything component work properly or without problem. That's impossible, because you have no way to control all of them, right? Software not from you, it's from a third party. They have mistake, right? I will show some mistake very crazy later, but you know that. Hardware have problem too, because technical problem, right? Making like sometimes system down, and then when you get it get up back, and then it may have some wrong connection, letting the bad guy get into the systems. So that's bad, right? So hardware, software, data. The data we collect sometimes, it make a way for the hacker to get into the system. And then the procedure, you design the procedure, the business step by step, activity like that, and then sometimes you make some mistake because of people, right? People in the company make a mistake, and then that, or even people, they just make mistake because they share something on an unsecure connection, and then we get lost thing. So no way to avoid the risk, right? But we need to try to mitigate it, to reduce it. That's the goal of the information system security. Talking about the attack in the recent years, we can see a lot, right? Here, they use many different approaches to hack into the system. Even some popular approach like denial of service here. It seems they like to hurt the system by stop it working, or sometimes try to hack into the system because system collapse, right? It's a very popular one. Or we can see some like bad software malicious insider. It's another way. And web-based attack is a popular one. We check and see every day bad guy look around on the internet to see is there any server unsecure, and they try to attack. We can see that a number of malicious code. How can we have this problem? Because these days we regularly use open source code. Okay, so that's maybe a problem too. Or some technique like phishing, social engineering, try to pretend to help but then hack into the system, and also stolen device. Okay, because the device usually have some secure code there, and bad guy tries to steal the device when the employee go out, right? Or they ride the car, stop in front of the bank, and they get into the bank, but letting the suitcase in the car, and then some bad guy break the car, get the suitcase, taking the laptop, and then from the laptop the hacker can connect to the system, steal something. Okay, so you can see mistake and the loss happen all over the world every time. That's why it's hard to say that we can make sure no a problem with information security. No way, right? Okay, so we will take a break for 20 minutes. We will resume at 9:20. All right, we're back. All right, I just adjust the volume to make sure it's not too loud. Okay. All right. It's good enough. So if you cannot hear me clearly, please turn the volume up. Turn up a little bit. I am still checking. All right, back to the slide now. Okay, so we talk about the cause of being attacked. You can see here some example and how popular they are. And more you can see the DOS, the denial of service, simply like on the top of the attack because it's very simple. Okay, everyone can do it. No need to be a hacker. You can do it easily if you have some bots doing for you. And simply like there are many services out there, to support you if you need some bot, and then they do. And besides that, we do see many different kind of attack to the system. Okay, and stolen devices is very somehow also popular because the mistake, right? People making mistake all the time when they have the device in the car and then they travel somewhere and they forgot the device in the car when leaving, and then somebody I see it and then can break the car to get the device, the laptop. Like at the UCSF, I saw some professor forget the device, the laptop, the car, and then the laptop was stolen. That my heart. Okay, so that's it looked like very popular these days. Okay, so the severity of the crisis, you can see that day by day more and more they make, and you see the cost pay for that a lot, right? And the last 5 years, you can see from 2010 to 2015, and which one might hurt the most? DOS, right? Denial of service. It hurt a lot. Most stolen device less, malicious insider and web-based attack and malicious code somehow at a medium. On average, they do this around 150,000. So that means each company should pay for that much money because of the information security problem. And they do a lot of research out there. See how hurt the hacker can make to the company. Okay, so how to secure, how to use this computer system securely, or that can be like taken care on both side, the employee and the company, the employee as well the user. So as a user, when you use the computer, you should take seriously something out here. Like, first of all, you need to take care of your computer, your password. Okay. So the first thing you can do to secure your account, online account, is your password. Okay, your password. So you need to create a very strong password. Strong password, that means it's long enough, not too long because it's hard to remember or take time to enter, to input. So it's long enough with different letter characters, right? So not only the letter but also the number, right? The sign, the symbol, some number, and then should not use popular words, right? Sometimes we are lazy and we make the password based on some set of the words, and then some other guys can guess it. Bad guy can guess. They can try some brute force, okay, some greedy approach, like let the computer running some program that's to guess the password. So try to do the password very different. And also using multiple password. That means if you have Google account, Facebook account, you should not use the same password for both accounts. Okay. And when you use the email or instant messages, should not send the valuable information. Okay, so don't use email to send. Okay, you may like talk like say out loud your account number over the phone. Okay, so for example, when you try to buy something online and using your credit card, don't try to enter the credit card in the email sending to the agent. Okay, if the seller asking you about the credit number, you need to say via phone. Okay, via phone. And also when you visit a website with the login account, better use the secure HTTP. Okay, so this is a secure. It have an S, okay, at the protocol HTTP. Okay, not using the one without S at the end. So that's very important when you visit a website. So like when you go to my website, you should say the HTTPS, okay, not without S, not good. And also after done with using a website, you better clear the browsing history, cookies. So cookies is an amount of data the website store on your computer. Okay, so somehow this data consists of your account information. Okay, so some bad guy can try to hack into this. For example, Facebook have this problem. Okay, so once you log in a Facebook website and you didn't log out, you just close the browser, and some bad guy can get the cookies from Facebook and log into your account and use your account to like some post from somewhere, someone else you didn't know, right? So be careful with this. So cookies is an amount of data, small one, not very big, very large, and a very small bit of data the browser or the web server store on your computer. Okay, so when you quit the website, you better clear the cookies. It's hard, right? Because you don't know what's one cookie. But if you know how to clean it, try do it. Otherwise, make sure you log out the web page before close the browser. Okay. So that depends, because somehow when I can do very secure approach for client, I do not ask them to log out because I know how to secure them. So that depends on the website. Some websites, they don't know how to secure their user, so you should be careful. Okay. Also remember to update the antivirus software, and also learn more about the information security policies and follow the policies all the time. Okay, and always follow some like the policies in the business, in the company when you go to work. Okay. And yeah, that's some you can do from the as a user. From the company, they also have a plan for information security. Okay, so they should know what kind of data they store and where they store the data and who will have the right to access data. So all of that from the company. So it should be done by the company, and even if they have some policy, they should make sure the policies to be followed by every employee. Okay. So for the company, in order to secure the information system, they should take every part, every component in the system secure. Okay. So regarding the hardware and the software of the system, they should do some like method to secure things. So first of all, they need to get the software from trusted a provider, right? Hardware as well. You know what? Because hardware sometimes can hurt the system. Like in the U.S., federal agency not allowed to use the hardware from China, right? Because some manufacturer in China try to like place some bad chip in the machine that can open the back door to bad guy to get into the system. So when you get the hardware, you should get the hardware from some trusted provider, a vendor. And in US, every university or the federal agency these days not allowed to use a machine from China, that reason, or Russia. Software as well, right? Software should be should come from trusted provider. Okay, and also the data, whatever happened in the system should be encrypted, should be protected using firewalls. Okay, firewalls and the words that can help to protect the thing inside against the hacker outside. Right? That's some software, hardware, but we name them the firewall because no one can climb over that to get into the system because they will get hurt. Okay. Also, for the software, we need the malware protection. Okay, and also we need some proper design at the hardware and the software level to make the system secure. So for hardware and software, we can do some thing like this in order to make the system secure at this level. At the data level or component, we also use some encryption methods. Okay, we can use the permission and password protected account in order to secure the data. So we only allow some employee with the permission to access the data, and also together with the software to secure the data stored in the system. At the business level, including the business procedure and people, we also follow some policies in order to make sure the system is secure. Okay, so for people, we usually care about the training, training them, make sure they follow the business requirements when using the information system. Okay, and also make sure to hire the good people. Okay, so hiring should be a very important part in this. So hiring and screening. Okay, screening, that means you need to check the history of the person, right, before being an employee in the company. Okay, so all of this need to be done in order to secure the information system in the company. Okay, so here's some policies or regulations in the U.S. Okay, so when you work in the U.S., you need to follow some policy like the HIPAA here, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. You need to follow this. You might also follow some PA and some other. Okay, so for example, when you go to university, work there, you need to sign a contract, making sure to follow some PA and HIPAA. These two things required to work in the US, for example. For other countries like in Australia, we also have, they do have Australian Privacy Act. Okay, so every country has this. In Vietnam, they do also have some policy. Okay. So that's required before going to work. Okay, so only employees should follow the policies in order to make sure nothing hurt. But sometimes it happens, you see, like I said, if the system collapses, not because of the natural disaster, but maybe because of the technical problem, and that also open the door for the bad guy to get into the system. So secure the system and also make sure the system run all the time properly is smart in order to protect it. Okay. For other things like using account, giving the password or whatever, you should know, right? Because that's That's very popular, regular. And also here we have some terms. First of all, we see that for the identification and authentication, we need to use account, right? We need to use some like the card. We sometimes using some card, okay, identification card, ID. Or we may also use some smart card that can help us to log in the system without typing the password. Okay, these days we usually use it. When we want to work in the office, you need to use the card to open the office door, right? And then when we get to the table, we need to put the card, plug the card in the keyboard, and then we can log in the system. When we get out, we need to take the card, and the system will log it out automatically. And when we transfer the data among the employees or department or companies, we use the encryption. So encryption simply like encrypt the content, right? Instead of sending the plain text, everyone can read it. Now encryption will turn it into like code, some kind of code that human beings cannot read it. So that avoids the information to be stolen, right? We use the firewalls as well. The firewalls somehow like protect the system, right? Like the wall around of a building, and then somehow outside like internet cannot get into the system. We need to use malware protection, okay, so that can remove the bad thing, the badware, like spyware, adware, ransomware, or whatever, right? Every badware can be removed. And also make sure we have a proper design of the system, of the application as well, on this, okay? And regarding the protocol, again, remember when you use a website, you better using the website with this secure protocol, okay? So HTTPS, that's secure protocol. It's based on the secure socket layer, okay? Here you can see it, HTTP secure layer, so all of this. So everything start with the S or end with the S or secure, remember that. So you do not need to remember a lot of protocols because that's not your job. But when you use something, if you see the S in front or S in the end, that means somehow secure, okay? So if you use, if you want to send file from one to another machine, you can use FTP, right? FTP, file protocol. So now file transfer protocol. So now if you want to make it secure, you need to use SFTP. So SFTP means secure file transfer protocol. Okay, fine. Alright, so with the secure one, you do not need to worry about the bad guy. Even if they try to hack into the internet connection, right? Hack to your modem at home, and they can get the data, but they cannot read it. They can get, but cannot read it, okay? Because it's secure and encrypted. And in the company, we need to set up many words, right? The words can help protect every department, set up multiple firewalls. And also, we use the antivirus software, okay, to remove the badware from the system, from the desktop in the company or from the server in the company. Move them, okay. So for the malware here, we have many different kinds of them, right? So you remember this. Viruses is very popular term for us. I'm sure every one of us know that, right? Viruses simply are like a bad program, right? Bad program that stay on the device, and if you run it, it will infect the other one, right? It will spread out to the other device and so on. So virus is simply like something when you hit and it grow, right? It spread out. It's Trojan horses. This is a kind of software that just come to the system by somehow like on purpose. So like I said, some company in China try to put the Trojan in the computer they sell on the market. So it's just there until one day some guy know how to use it, how to use the Trojan, and then they can hack into your computer. Okay, Trojan is very bad thing. It happens out there a lot. So that's why the U.S. not using device from China because they worry about this. Okay, or the worm somehow like the worm, a natural worm. They just simply a program that can try to spread themselves on the internet, okay, on the network. So whenever it's get into a computer, it try to look around, it try to look over the internet connection or the network connection and get to the other computers connected to the internet or network. Okay, and sometimes they use Trojan. Okay, so they work together with other bad or malware in order to spread out. That's the worm. The spyware simply spyware, right? It's a kind of, it doesn't hurt clearly because it's just a spy. Okay, so it stays in your computer, but you didn't know, and it's trying to like get your keyboard whenever you try to answer your password, and it gets to know your password. It also do the same thing to get your credit card number or your personal information, and will send to a server on the internet, and then it will be the information will be used later. Sometimes you don't know, so spyware. The adware does the same thing, but not for spy, but for ad, right? To do some advertising on your computer in front of you without your permission. So that's it. Ransomware somehow like a bad way to lock your information or data and asking for money. Right? So you need to pay for this in order to get access to your system. Okay. So there are many different kinds of malware like this, and then you can see it every day. And we simply condemn the viruses, but not all of them are viruses. Right? They have many different ways to get hurt. So should a badware come to your computer because you can because you copy some software on the internet, or you install some software from the internet, but you didn't know, or you use some crack software because bad guys usually like make the crack software to attract people using it, right? And then they put in the crack software some their stuff. So when you install the crack software on your computer, maybe that's an opportunity for the badware or the malware to come too. Okay, so whenever you install the software, you need to make sure you get the software from somewhere you trust. Okay, and yeah, or maybe because sometimes you open a link from the email asking you to download something and check in something, and then finally install some bad thing in your computer. So that's the way the malware get into your computer. If you don't install any software outside, if you don't like click any bad link or whatever, you're making sure everything on your computer there still, and then no way for malware to get in your computer, right? And besides such a badware, we may have the information security problem because of the mistake when we develop the information system. Okay, so remember in information system we have the database management system, right? Database management system using SQL, okay, SQL programming language. Okay, SQL is a statement like you say you want to get the data, you say select something from database, right? Or you want to put something in a database, you can say like insert into database. So we know something about SQL before, right? But for some reason, the developer, the dev who make the system, then make some mistake when using the SQL. So that can open a way for bad guy to get into the system. Okay, so such a problem we call the SQL injection attack. So how it look like? So here is an example. So for example, the guy who did the system asking the user to enter the username and password each time the user want to log into the system to use. So what the user do? Regularly, the user will enter a user, right? Username U and a password P in order to log in, right? And in the system, the dev doing something like this. He tried to select from the database name users, where the username equal to U and the password equal to P. If there are some user like this, that means this is a right user of the system, right? And let the user log in. So this look good, right? No problem. Because they say they only approve a user login if in the system there is a user with the username U, and okay, and a password P, and then let the user in. That's cool. Using this, okay. But look at this. We say that this SQL statement have a problem. Checking like this will be a problem. So what's the problem? So here you can see how the hacker hacked into this. Now a hacker know in the system there is a user named U, but he didn't know the password. Right? That's normal, right? I know that my friend have an account at Facebook, but I don't know his password. Usually that. So how the hacker hack into the system using the username? He will try to log in the system, and once the system asking him for the username and the password, he do like this. He enter use in the username. That's the correct one, right? But when asking for the password, it enters like X or true. So this is the entire thing it will enter as password. So the system again check, right? Check the login using the SQL statement. So when it put into statement, you have a statement like this. Select to check if the user where the username equal to use and the password equal to X. Sure, no user like that. But because the hacker type only the or true. So you see the or true follow like this. So now look at the expression here. This is a logical expression. So for the first part, checking user equal to use, it's true, right? Because the username is very easy to know, right? So the hacker know the username, so this part is true. And okay, so here is an and operator, followed by password is X. Password equal to X? No, right? Because for the right user, the password should be B, not X. So this part is wrong. But followed by a or operator, right? And then followed by true. You know that in logical operators, this guy or operators will get true if either of this guy is true, right? So if this guy is true, that's good, but now it's false. So for the second one, it's true. So that means this entire expression true, right? It's true. So in total, right, we have all of these part true. So that means the selection saying this user is okay. So that means the hacker hacked into the system. Okay. So here the reason. The system will approve if the user U is the username file, no matter the password you enter. Okay. So this is a problem. So like I said, this checking methods making a problem because very simple mistake making the SQL injection or SQL injection attack. So this happens all the time. I saw many systems out there still have this problem. So when you try to hack, easily to get into the system, even we don't have the password, we just need to know the username and you get in the system. And once you get it, like the system always have admin user, right? So we know the username is admin. I do not need the password. I can log in the system as admin, administrator, and I can do everything there. So that's bad, right? So this problem comes from the dev, okay, the guy who dev, not from the user, because the user don't have the chance to write the code like this. So this is the dev one. So for that you can see the information security can come from anywhere, right? In the system with the 5 components, a lot of things. So it's hard to handle all of them. That's why we said that no way to say zero mistake or zero problem with the information security. No way. But we need to try to mitigate it, to reduce it. Okay. All right. So we need to secure at every level, like hardware, software, data as well, right? Data as well. So data software like this, we can use like encryption, backup. Backup is also a solution for information security problem. Okay, backup thing every day. So if the next day some guy hack into the system and destroy data, we can restore from backup. Okay. Also make some policies of usage, okay, and then the account, permission, password, or something like that, okay, even with the physical security. So that's for the data. For the people, we know that we need to make some policy, right? We need to run some regulation policies. So for the user, they need to follow some requirement of the company. For the company, they need to do some secure thing when hiring and training new employee. Okay, making sure people are good people using the right thing. Okay, doing the right thing. So here, for the user together should follow some policies. Okay, responsibility, accountability, and compliance to the company regulation. For the company, they need to like monitor the user, the employees, and making termination in case needed. Okay, so that's why we secure the information system in the company. Okay, for the guests, we also have some policies. Okay, or we define some region or area in the system for guests only. Okay, so making sure that. All right. And for the user in the company, we need to do some management, some policy, or some regulation. Using the system, like password should be changed, password should be updated, and also have a division or a help desk policy to help them with the access to the system. Okay, so all of these things we can do in order to secure the system. So remember, besides hardware, software, the company also need to do some like the should have some solution, okay, in order to secure the usage of the system, information systems. So the user should have accounts, should change passwords, should follow some policy, and the company should monitor the usage of the system, and also in case they have the guests, the customer outside access the system, they should define some area so that they cannot get into the internal system. Okay. Okay. All right. And the procedure we can see here for the system. Remember, we can do the at different level. Okay, normal operation, backup operation, or recovery operation. That's the different level. Regular ones. Backup one and a very high or disaster response plan for the system. So we can have many different level or procedure to secure the system like this. Okay, and monitor the usage also is very important. We simply like, if we have system running on the internet, we always monitor it, okay? Check who accessed it, where they use it, or how they use it. Or this should be recorded, should be logged into a file or database, and then some professional will check the log every day. Okay, so that's the way we secure. Okay, or we can make some spot to let some bad guy try to hack in and catch them. Okay, but not always do that, because we're not trying to hurt the bad guys. We just try to avoid them. Okay, so that's some how we can secure the information system. Okay, so you can read the textbook to know more about how what is phishing, what is spoofing. Phishing is a very popular term, right? When you get an email telling that your access to the access to your online bank account was suspended because you make something wrong, and if you want to recover, you need to click the link below and answer the question, and blah blah blah. You will get the access back. But remember, your bank account never do that. Okay, if they see some problem, they will ask you to come to the bank. Okay, come to the office. They're not asking you to click this or this that. So if you say some email like that, that's kind of phishing. Okay, if you follow that, and then you will be asked for your personal information. So then that problem, right? So some kind like that. Make sure not click any link sent to you via email, or even on smartphone. Sometimes you get a message telling you select this link, answer some question. Do not do that. Okay, if we have some problem with the account at the bank or at company, you need to go to the office always. No way to do that, or you can talk over the phone. Don't try to use any link, any unknown systems. In the future, information security is a very big problem, because in the future we use more and more devices in the system, right? Information system like IoT, and then some smart device get to the system and make more risk to us. So it's hard in the future, harder in the future, and maybe by that time we need some new technology to deal with the information security, not like now. Okay, so in the future, harder the information system security, but maybe the better result we do, better solution for them in 2027. Okay, so that's all about the chapter number 10, information security, information system security, and simple some personal response to the risk. Very simple, right? Secure your account, secure your password, using your password, and avoid using some like unknown source on the internet, and then that can secure your computer, your personal information. All right, it's very hard, but yeah, you just know some. You have some at least you have some idea about the information systems security and how to deal with that. Okay, and remember, information system security is to find a good trade-off, okay, among the cost to secure and the loss we may have. Okay, so we cannot maximize either of them, but we can make both of them optimal as somehow acceptable, and that's it. Because you cannot make zero information security problem. Okay, we have to accept it. It happens all the time, like when we do the business. We cannot say zero risk. No, zero risk business, that means no business. Okay. And we cannot pay too much, right? Pay too much, that means you lost also. If you don't lose it, but you lose that, the same thing. So we will lose something acceptable. And also, that's depending on the people, right? Anyway, people is the most important things. You can say that if your company have good people, they can save the thing, okay? They can help. But we don't have the excellent or good people, we may have problem. Even you see the two companies like Facebook and Google, you can see the difference. Sure, people have excellent people, right? So they're smart, they can solve the problem better. For Facebook, they do the thing good, but they cannot do as best as Google. So when Facebook has some problem with security, I saw that they address it wrongly. Like these days, they just do some new security policy, but it looks weird. I can pass it easily, okay? So because people, they are not good enough to make the thing best. So that's the people also important. Good people can help a lot, but sometimes we don't have because we don't have money, and problem may come. So that means we need to choose some like good trade-off among them, among the cost and the loss. All right. So that's all about the information security. So now I think you need to ready. We can do some quiz for this chapter. Okay. So this is for the first session of the chapter. Very simple. Easy, right? Missing data because it's there, it's not red. Then the second one. You have the same thing, and then you do the same result, answer the same way. Missing data. So today you have 2 correct questions for the chapter 10. So now we have more questions for chapter 10, the second session. So whatever protocol with S in front at the end, at the beginning and at the end, that means CQ. So simply choose one, not S at the beginning or end, and then you have correct answer. And now the next question for session number 2 in chapter 10. Depth, right? That because of depth. And now I will resend a question for session 1 of the chapter 10. So it should be a trade-off, right? Because we don't want to lose or to spend a lot. So we need to choose a trade-off. Okay, all right. That's it for the 2 chapters. And I will resend the questions for these 2 chapters the next meeting. So if you miss some today, you can take time to review the slides, the lectures. So next time you can get early to the class, because I will do that early in the next meeting, presenting the question for chapters 9 and 10. Okay. So now we have some materials to review. So this is about the use of the artificial intelligence and machine learning in business. Okay. So like in the chapter number 7, we talk about the business process improvement, and we know that business process improvement is very important for the business, because that can help to reduce the cost, right? And then to help the customer more. So how to do that? We can do by restructure the process, and also to reduce or to revise the process resource. Okay, so that simply help us to minimize the cost. Not talking about make a better match to the customer needs, right? But now we know that the business need to be like somehow agile, right? Somehow more flexible with the need of the market of the customer. So that means the needs of the customers should be changed, right? It change every day. So today look like this, but not tomorrow. For example, if you run some business, do business like to provide some coffee, right? Or coffee drink. So you know that maybe that's today people enjoy the coffee differently from what they did 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago. So 10 years ago we can have coffee in like in-house coffees or at a very small shop, right? But these days people somehow like more difficult, right? They require a lot. So you should go to some coffee store very big, right? Like in Vietnam we have what? Highlands coffee, right? Or coffee house. They look so much different with the coffee stores like 10 years ago. So that means business always need to change, right? Do the way they do the business should be like update day by day. So how can we know that, and how can we do it correctly? That because we base on some tool, analyze it, like BI, okay, that predict, that analyze and tell us something like valuable, okay, something new. That young people these days usually go to this, not go to that. They love this, not love that, or they enjoy much more if they do have this, not that, right? All of this come from the analyzing of the data analysis. So so that's make the company always do the thing like optimize the process, okay, the way they do, the way they make the value. So business process optimization is a hot topic, hot research topic these days. So in this material, I think if you have a chance to get this book, you should try to do it. Okay, so let I go back to the cover, the front page of the book. You can see this is the book about artificial intelligence for business optimization. Okay, optimization, simply like business process optimization. And here is the research paper from a conference. And so in this, I will try to concentrate on only the chapter we needed, talking about the use of artificial intelligence for business optimization. So for BO, okay, BO business optimization. And here we can see we have some idea about the AI and how it can help with the business. Okay, so I won't go deep into the this thing because it's a lot, but I will like talking about something very useful for us. Okay, let me check. Oh, right. So wait for me a moment. I need to adjust the. Okay, adjust this guy. You can see it, right? You can read it. Okay. Alright, so let me check it. We need to do this way. It's better. Okay. Alright, so I need to adjust the things. So I turn up the volume already. Turn up. So now I adjust the screen resolution in order to make a better view. So we wait for a little bit for the system to update. And now back to the material I have here. Okay, so today we review about some materials about AI and application in business. So can you see the paper, the book? Can you read it? The layer somehow very hard. Okay, I will turn the bit rate. So that may asking your internet connection a little bit more. But I can help. So now I turn the speed to somehow high. Okay, it's so hard. Alright, so my end. Hopefully, yeah. So I will restore on the system. So you need to, after it's restored, you need to click login, okay?